24th Grand Prix start. 32 years of age now, Pol Espargaro. Just the 2 podiums in his previous 199 MotoGP starts. 4th in Qatar, of course, at the start of the season. This kind of shows you the progress that Aprilia have made at the start of 2022. 4th in Doha was only Aprilia's 10th top 6 in their MotoGP history. And here we are, what, about a month down the track, thinking that today could be the day that they finally are race winners in the MotoGP World Championship. I'm sure we've got a mixture of an excited and very tense Aprilia Racing boss Massimo Rivola down the grid with Simon Crafar. Pol Espargaro on pole, Maverick Vinales in 5th. Is today the day, Simon? Down to you.
Yes, Massimo, the true captain of the Aprilia ship. I'd love to know, how's it feel to have both of your machines in the top 5 and be on pole position today, going into the race?
Actually, pole position is quite new for us. It's a nice view from here. I hope. I think Aleix is ready. I think Aleix is ready. He's very mature. He's confident. I mean, he's very focused. We are very focused. We are working well, and to be honest, I think we deserve it, and we deserve a bit more. So let's be focused on today. But we are quite proud of the job we are doing.
I couldn't agree more. Also, I speak to a lot of the different teams, and they all believe you are ready. And on paper, Aleix looks so good, race pace. Can you give us your thoughts also on Maverick?
Yeah, it's true that Aleix is quite fast, but you know, racing, you know better than me that you never say never. And to be honest, Maverick as well showed a good a good rhythm in FP as well as in warm-up. So I think if he has a good start, he has the pace to stay with the guys in front.
Massimo, thank you for your time. A lot of people have got their fingers crossed for you today.
No, me too, thank you.
A bit of a nervous laugh at the end there from Massimo Rivola. You can certainly understand why. You just saw a look at the grid a moment or two ago, and according to that sheet that we saw, certainly the initial view is that all the riders have gone to the grid on the hard front, soft rear. Marc Marquez is training hard to try and get himself back. We hope to see him again in the near future. As I say, we expect to hear in the next 48 hours or so whether we'll see him in the Grand Prix of the Americas. But just to touch upon the grid that you saw a moment ago, it's Aleix Espargaro, of course, on pole from Martin and Marini, with Pol Espargaro, Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quartararo on row 2. The Suzukis go from row 3 with the championship leader Enea Bastianini and his closest rival Brad Binder on row 4. The factory Ducatis have to come through from row 5, and Miguel Oliveira, our most recent winner, he is back on row 6. Simon, down to you.
I'm with Fonzie Nieto from Pramac, and your man Jorge Martin second on the grid. Also Johann Zarco looking quite good all weekend. Can you tell us your thoughts going into today's race?
No, we are happy about the tires, especially because it's very critical in the last races, and we are very confident about the durability of the tires, and for that it's very important, especially with the Ducati. Jorge make an amazing Saturday qualifying always, and we have to have a very good start and try to make rhythm. I think Aleix have a little bit more this weekend. We have to pay attention with him.
Okay, one other thing, I know I agree with you, Jorge Martin did an amazing job yesterday, but he also seemed confident about the race and being able to do the pace. Do you feel the same?
Yes, because the 2 crashes in the 2 first races is just unlucky, because he crashed with Pecco in Qatar and with the water in Indonesia. For that, we have to do our work in the same condition and as always, and try to do our best.
Thank you, Fonzie. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks to Fonzie Nieto. His men, Jorge Martin, of course, on the front row, and Johann Zarco in 9th place, as we get the aerial stunt show taking place before this Termas de Rio Hondo battle. Rather them than me. There's not enough money on planet Earth to get me in that aeroplane, I can assure you.
It's been catching our attention, hasn't it? As it's been flying close to the paddock as we've been making our way through over the course of the weekend. Certainly no lack of talent there. We're looking at Darren Binder's motorcycle on the grid.
Yeah, what's going on down there? I'm not quite sure whether there's like a sort of a few anxious faces. I think that's Frankie Morbidelli's crew. That's Stewie Miller there in the background. Ramon Ficada also there involved, who's Franco Morbidelli's crew chief. Andrew Griffiths is there, yeah, the data engineer. He's also part of the Morbidelli crew, so I'm not sure if there's some kind of an issue on the grid. I don't know if you can find out, Simon. We'll quickly go down to, well, we can go down and find out maybe what's going on with the factory Yamaha of Frankie Morbidelli. Oh, it's Andrea Dovizioso, of course. I'm thinking about last year. So we'll go down to Maya Merigani with Monster Energy Yamaha boss.
Yes, I promise I'll race down from here and find out what's going on down there. But Mayo, I have to say, Fabio looks fantastic, like a safe bet, it looks like, from the outside for the podium. I want to know, more importantly, your thoughts.
Yeah, we have the same thought, and the pace he had even today with the really used rear tire has been good. There are many other riders that I think they are closer or same. It will be, in my opinion, very important for him to try to start very well, maybe catching Aleix, that on the paper is the rider that has the better pace. And then we expect that maybe at the end of the race the rear soft will drop a bit, but anyway, this is the choice that everyone took. So we expect that also others will have to face with this problem. But for the rest, we are quite confident. And also talking about Morbidelli, this morning he was quite satisfied. Yesterday, I think we tried to explore a different path than usual to try to improve the braking. Even though his feeling was good, but in terms of results and also data, we could not see what we were looking for. So this morning we came back, and the feeling was immediately back as it was before. So he already showed us what he was able to do at the start in Indonesia. We told him to do the same.
Mayo, thank you for your time. Good luck today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Maya. Thanks to Simon Crayford. I know there's a reason why I've been prescribed glasses, of course. Apologies. I was so used to seeing Stewie Miller and Andy Griffiths and Ramo Furcado working with Frankie Morbidelli. Of course, they're now part of Andrea Dovizioso's crew. So, yeah, I need to pay another visit to the opticians, I think, when I get home from Texas.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that bike, whether they've got whatever issue it is fixed with Andrea Dovizioso, who's got a pretty decent record around here, I have to be said. He's got a couple of podiums here in the past, 2 podiums back in 2015 and 2019, although he perhaps lost a potential podium in 2016 when he was taken out by his then teammate Andrea Iannone, although we'll potentially move past that because I'm sure Andrea Dovizioso doesn't want to be reminded of that particular moment. But it's an interesting race ahead for the factory Yamaha team. Fabio Quartararo going from 6th on the grid, Franco Morbidelli from 15th. Quartararo seems pretty happy with his pace, but he has to try and come through from the back of the second row. We hear it's a problem with the generator for the tyre warmers down there on the grid on Andrea Dovizioso's bike, so seemingly no great issue with the motorcycle itself. So Andrea Dovizioso likely to be able to take the start from his 18th position on the grid.
So we just saw there down on the grid, ready for our new grid ceremony, which will be taking place in about 4 minutes' time. Dorna CEO Carmelo Espeleta, delighted, of course, to see MotoGP back in South America for the first time since 2019. There'll be local dignitaries also involved in the new grid ceremony, which will include the MotoGP trophy stand with the race winning prize here at the end of the 25-lap Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina, and the big prize, what they're all fighting for, of course, the Tower of Champions. That will be on display very, very shortly, as we'll also hear the Argentinian national anthem. Let's quickly pop back down onto the grid. It's been a dismal weekend so far for the factory Ducati team. Pecco Bagnaia 13th, Jack Miller 14th. Let's hear the pre-race thoughts of their team manager, Davide Tardozzi, with Simon.
Yes, as my colleague Matt just said, we'd love to hear your pre-race thoughts about both Pecco and Jack.
I think that Pecco is not so bad, while Jack faced some trouble this morning in the warm-up. He's not very happy about his warm-up, but we'll see if he will recover during the race the small problem he had. While I'm confident that Pecco, if he have a good start, he can do a fantastic race.
Thank you, Davide.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Davide Tardozzi. So Jack Miller, not the pre-race boost he was looking for. Not a great warm-up. It was extended to 40 minutes this morning. A chance for riders to work on race setup with the lost track time here from Friday. Jack Miller ruining that sort of tangle as well with Fabio Quartararo in Q2. Kevin Benavides, the 2021 Dakar winner. Great to see him here soaking up some MotoGP atmosphere. course, Danilo Petrucci created history, didn't he? I'm just looking out of our commentary box window, actually. There is smoke pouring away from Darren Binder's, or near Darren Binder's With You Yamaha RNF machine as well. I don't know if there's another With You Yamaha RNF generator having a problem on the grid, but there's smoke pouring absolutely everywhere.
Just see it top left of screen. If you look in the background, you can just see some smoke there. So
that's not
clearly
coming from the stunt plane either, is it? Yeah, there you go, from the long range shot from the camera. There was smoke pouring out of I think it's again a generator issue with Darren Binder. As we look at 2020 world champion Joan Mir, we haven't really talked in great detail, have we, so much about the Spanish rider here this weekend on the factory Suzuki. 6 in the first 2 races. Simon Crayford just reporting it's been a problem for both generators on the grid for Andrea Dovizioso and Darren Binder, part of the With You RNF Yamaha team. That's not smoke from their generators, by the way, although it might well be the way they've been giving off smoke from the grid. That is from the stunt plane, which is doing a great job building up the atmosphere for fans here in Termas de Rio Hondo.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Joan Mir, he had an electrical problem at the start of qualifying too, which kind of put him out of sync a little bit in qualifying. But the Suzuki's in pretty decent shape once again, 7th and 8th on the grid for them ahead of this Grand Prix. As we mentioned in Walmart, they've kind of flown under the radar, which that stunt plane certainly isn't at the moment. But they feel fairly confident that they can move through the field later on today. Alex Rins feels he's got better pace than the guys ahead of him on the grid. He needs to be aggressive in the first 2 laps to try and fight his way into podium contention.
So there is Luca Marini, just the 2nd front row start of his World Championship career. Marco Bezzecchi, his teammates, had a couple of heavy spills so far this weekend as well. He's going to go from the middle of the 6th row in 17th place. Great job by the Termas de Rio Hondo staff, of course, to rebuild the main pits and paddock complex. It was all burnt down and destroyed, sadly, in a fire here just 14 months ago. In the zone, trying to keep the focus, block out the tension, block out what's going to lie ahead in the next 25 laps or so. As we will get ready for the special national anthem, we will take a short pause.
Libertad, libertad, libertad. Hoy del ruido de rotas cadenas, ve del trono a la noble igualdad. Y a su trono dignísimo abrieron las provincias unidas del sur, y los libres del mundo responden al gran pueblo argentino salud, al gran pueblo argentino salud, y los libres del mundo responden al gran pueblo argentino salud. Sean eternos los laureles que supimos conseguir, que supimos conseguir. Coronados de gloria vivamos, oh juremos con gloria morir, oh juremos con gloria morir, oh juremos con gloria morir.
Great scenes here then at Termas de Rio Hondo. MotoGP back in South America for the first time in 2019. 35,500 people inhabit Termas de Rio Hondo, just a short drive away from this famous circuit. Not a lot of them have been getting much sleep as the passionate and vibrant South American fans have enjoyed our first return here in 3 years. As we mentioned, some of those officials there have done so much great work in getting this Grand Prix here back after the paddock and pits complex was completely destroyed by a fire back in February 2021. Quickly back down to you, Simon, on the grid.
Livio Supo, Livio, going into this race, I think there could be some blue on the podium. Do you?
I hope. You think, I hope, and I think we both could be right because they have a good pace and it's a long race, so let's see what happens, but I really believe we can do it.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to the factory Suzuki team. We'll see Alex Rins 7th on the grid, Joan Mir in 8th place. There's a support here for Fabio Quartararo. The French fans have made a long trip here to the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. And what about this man, Maverick Vinales, a former race winner here in Termas de Rio Hondo. He won the second Grand Prix of his factory Yamaha career here in 2017 before it obviously all went horribly wrong. That relationship ending in rather acrimonious circumstances last year, but he's looking revitalised, looking revamped. A 200th MotoGP start then ahead for Pol Espargaro. For the first time on a factory Aprilia, he will do so from pole position. Can he celebrate this milestone weekend in his Grand Prix career with his first MotoGP victory? It's his 284th Grand Prix start for the 32-year-old. He's only ever had 3 career podiums. Will he finally get to taste some race-winning Prosecco? Is there a trophy going back home to Laura and to Max and Mia in Andorra next week after the Austin race in Texas? Massive tension down on the grid, the pressure building up for Pol Espargaro. Can he finally win a race in MotoGP?
Let's not lose sight of the fact as well that his brother, who we saw just a moment ago, he's also of course chasing his first MotoGP win. He starts from the front of the second row. Honda somewhere nearer their Qatar form than their Indonesia form this weekend. They were kind of rescued in Q1 really. All of their riders had to go through qualifying one yesterday, but Pol Espargaro and Takaki Nakagami were both able to fight their way through. Nakagami managed to secure 10th on the grid, which is not a bad effort given that he was testing positive for COVID only a few days ago. Finally tested negative, got here for Saturday morning and was able to take part in the weekend. What can he do from the 4th row of the grid? The Suzukis, they're looking to attack from the 3rd row of the grid. The first 2 laps will be crucial for both Alex Rins and Joan Mir, but Pol Espargaro is the rider they all need to catch. They all seem to think if Pol can get into his rhythm early on, he will be able to pull away. He has an incredible pace at the front. Can Luca Marini and Jorge Martin get in front early?
So your front row of the grid for the Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina. 3rd place for Muni VR46 Ducati rider Luca Marini. They've all gone for the hard front, soft rear tyre. It's a 3rd successive front row start in 2022 for Jorge Martin as he tries to find his first points of the season. But it's a first MotoGP pole position for the factory Aprilia team. It's Pol Espargaro's 200th MotoGP World Championship appearance. Will today finally be the day that the Spaniard takes the spoils in MotoGP? Don't go anywhere. 25 laps of MotoGP action coming your way here at the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit in Argentina. Will it be victory for Pol Espargaro? Can Aprilia finally win in MotoGP? We're about to find out over the next 40 minutes or so. The Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina up next.
History beckons in Argentina. Can Aleix and Aprilia deliver? The Spaniard starts from pole position for his 200th MotoGP start. Jorge Martin and Luca Marini start alongside him. Pol Espargaro heads row 2 ahead of Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quartararo. The Suzuki start on row 3. Can they make early progress? The championship leader Enea Bastianini and his nearest rival Brad Binder are on row 4. The factory Ducatis have work to do from row 5 after difficult weekends for them. And our last winner, Miguel Oliveira, who triumphed in Indonesia, he has work to do from row 6. MotoGP has been turned on its head once again, but will Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro be head over heels with joy in 45 minutes time?
The tension being ramped up here, the pressure being ramped up here ahead of this 25-lap Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina. Pablo Nieto, his man Luca Marini on the front row of the grid for just the 2nd time in MotoGP. It's been such an unpredictable start to 2022 in MotoGP. Only the 2nd time in 45 years that the first 2 races have featured 6 different riders, and the first time since 1974 that European manufacturers have won 4 races in a row. Just over 67,000 fans then have made this pilgrimage to the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit as we get the warm-up lap underway. Just minutes away then from probably the biggest race of Pol Espargaro's Grand Prix career. The first time in Aprilia's history that 2 riders have qualified inside the top 5 in the same race for a MotoGP Grand Prix. Aprilia have waited so long for this moment. Pol Espargaro has waited so long for this moment. It's today their day of destiny in the Argentinian sunshine. We're about to find out 25 laps here of the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. Pol Espargaro on the pole position for the very first time.
Joan Zarco already exploring the runoff at turn 5. He want to clean up his tyres pretty quickly before he gets back onto the grid. That's not what the Frenchman wanted to be doing. Marc Marquez then, our most recent winner. Of course, he's not here. We hope to see him back very soon. It's a good happy hunting ground for Honda. Marquez and Crutchlow taking victories in 2019 and 2018. Their hopes really hinge on Pol Espargaro if they're going to extend that winning streak at the Autodromo Termas de Rio Hondo. And Bastianini then, he has a 2-point World Championship lead over Brad Binder, with Fabio Quartararo just 1 point further back. Just 10 points cover the top 9 riders, though, in the World Championship after such a competitive start to the season. As we return to Argentina, the passion amongst the Argentinian fans is undeniable. You can hear it at this incredible Termas de Rio Hondo circuit. What kind of race are they in for? Does history await them? 25 laps will give us the answer.
We've got the passion, and now it's time for the performance. What lies in store then for this man, Pol Espargaro, over the next 40 minutes or so? He's worked so hard to put Aprilia into this position. It's his 6th season with the Nawali factory. There's been some difficult moments. It was only a couple of years ago which Pol Espargaro felt like he'd had enough. He wasn't enjoying racing anymore, pushed into retirement almost. He stuck at it, and I'm so glad he did. I'm sure he's glad he did, because here he is for the first time in his 200th Grand Prix, starting from pole position for the factory Aprilia team. Green flag waves. It's time to tango in Argentina MotoGP style. Pol Espargaro, not a great launch off the line from that pole position. Jorge Martin got a superb start on the Pramac Ducati. Likewise, Pol Espargaro, he moves up into 2nd place, but Martin, is he a little bit wide in that first corner? No, he's got the whole shot. Martin leads.
Quartararo got a pretty good start from the outside of the 2nd row, although he got a bit boxed in on the inside of turn 1. Pol Espargaro looking to get up the inside now of Luca Marini into turn 1. One of the Suzukis is very well. It looks like Alex Rins, who's already up inside the top four. He's trying to battle with Pol Espargaro, Vinales and Quartararo just behind them.
Yeah, Rins made a superb start from 7th place, got himself quickly into 3rd, although he's got a little bit beaten up in those first couple of corners. Now back into 5th place. Marini there in 3rd, Pol Espargaro in 4th, but it's been a lightning start and first lap here so far for Jorge Martin. Got a 7 or 8 bike lengths clear into turn 5.
Look at Nakagami trying to go around the outside. He's passed Quartararo and Mir, and he's trying to get past Maverick Vinales. Nakagami, you can see him there just to the inside. He's just gained 3 spots up into the top 7 now. Mir and Quartararo behind. Then come Brad Binder and then Bastianini. No great progress for the factory Ducatis though. Miller down to 15th. Bagnaia still 30.
Great move that by Pol Espargaro. He just moved Alex Rins off the Optimum Racing line up on his fellow Spaniard into 5th place, 4th place rather, at turn 7. Here comes Taka Nakagami. Been a stunning start from the Japanese rider there. As Lewis said, he started 10th. He's having a really good early battle here with the 2nd of the Aprilias, Maverick Vinales. That's brave by Vinales, coming through the fast left-hander turn number 11. He had the inside line, but Nakagami standing firm on the outside. Great early action here in Termas.
Mir ready to pounce as well. Mir's going to take full advantage of that. He's going to ease Maverick Vinales aside into turn 13. Joan Mir comes through then. That moves him up into 7th place. Vinales drops back. Quartararo's now trying to take advantage as well. But just behind him come Binder and Bastianini, who've not made the progress they would have hoped to from their lowly grid positions.
Yeah, the same goes for Pecco Bagnaia. He's up into 12th place, only picked up 1 spot. That was tight there, wasn't it? Between the World Championship leader, Onea Bastianini, and Brad Binder, really close. There was almost contact between those two in the braking zone for that first corner. Here's Bastianini now up the inside of Fabio Quartararo, and he's made that move stick, although no, he hasn't. He was just in a little bit hot. Bastianini getting his nose blooded early on here in Argentina.
Quartararo getting beaten up as well. That puts him outside the top 10 now for the reigning world champion. We're on board with him now, and he's got 2 factory Ducatis. Bagnaia and Zarco's Pramac machine are right behind him, so expect them to be in touch with him as well. Andrea Dovizioso's race has ended early. He's already entered the pits as Nakagami goes wide.
Yeah, Nakagami was in way too hot at turn 5. It's a disaster for Dovizioso again. A mechanical ruled him out in Mandalika when he felt like he had the pace to fight for the podium in the rain conditions. Out on the very first lap here then for Andrea Dovizioso. Pol Espargaro up the inside of Luca Marini, albeit very briefly at turn 7. He made a move on the previous lap on Alex Rins there, did Pol Espargaro, so he's very strong on the front end of that Repsol Honda into 7, up into turn 9, and he finally makes that move stick on Marini.
Pol Espargaro back through then. Simon, I believe you can see what's happened with the Dovizioso down there. Very quickly, what's the problem?
Yeah, it looks like the front start device is holding the front down. It hasn't released.
Well, no, we can't hear from Simon, unfortunately. I'm sure he's investigating exactly what's going on. So then back at the front is still Jorge Martin with an advantage of just under 0.3 of a second. A real intense battle raging here for third place between Pol Espargaro, Luca Marini, Alex Rins. Now, while this lot sort of duff each other around and beat each other up, this is just going to give Martin and Alex Espargaro the chance to break away. And that's what they're doing. They've just exchanged fastest laps of the Grand Prix so far. A 1:39.866 from Martin, immediately bettered by 0.005 of a second by Alex Espargaro. They're a second clear now, though. This pretty heated battle for third.
A disastrous early stage of the Grand Prix for Fabio Quartararo, down in 13th position now. And given what we've seen from that Yamaha in recent races, not just in the end parts of this year, but the end of last year, once he's deep in the pack, it's very, very hard for him to make his way through. There's Andrea Dovizioso's problem. Simon mentioning a moment ago that the front device appears to be jammed on, so we think that's what the problem is with him. Alex Rins looking to get aggressive up the inside of Luca Marini, and Mir gets past Maverick Vinales. Vinales late on the brakes trying to get past the Suzuki. Mir back through into 6th.
Yeah, well, there was a rear ride height device that cost Brad Binder the chance to fight for the podium in the rain conditions. That was totally engaged throughout that Mandalika Grand Prix, wasn't it? Somehow he still finished in an incredible 8th place. He said that was like a victory. This is a real good tussle going on here for that third place. You've got Pol Espargaro involved, Marini, Rins, Mir, Vinales. But what it's all doing, while they battle, and while they kind of jostle for position, Martin and Alex Espargaro, they're not disrupting each other's rhythm. They're just quite content just to settle into this race, bed themselves in, wait for the grip to come to them. As Fabio Quartararo, as Lewis said, is having an absolute nightmare. He's still marooned down in 13th place on that last lap. Quartararo did a 41.3, well over 2 seconds away from the best time set by Martin.
Yeah, he's just struggling to find his way through, and of course it just becomes a greater and greater problem with that front tyre temperature going up and up and up as Alex Espargaro sets the fastest lap of the race. As you saw a moment ago, in play, he's the current World Championship leader, Alex Espargaro, if they put the flag out now, but he's got designs on a first MotoGP victory. He's got no threat from behind at the moment, Alex Espargaro, a 2.5 seconds back to his brother Pol, who leads the battle for third place. So Alex Espargaro able to focus on the Pramac Ducati of Jorge Martin up ahead of him. We've seen from Martin before when he's on pole position, he's a very, very difficult rider to dislodge from the front of the race, but Alex Espargaro, we know, has got formidable pace in that Aprilia. Can he get close enough to the Pramac Ducati down this back straight? Doesn't appear so at the moment. Martin holds the lead.
Yeah, passing a Ducati is going to be a pretty complicated task for Alex Espargaro. It's one thing to get on the rear tyre as Jorge Martin just in a little bit hot. That's going to keep Alex Espargaro's attention, because he saw there Martin was, he knows he's right behind him, Martin. He was perhaps a little bit eager to try and make up some time on the brakes into turn 5, and that's allowed Alex Espargaro to creep up that little bit. I wonder how long Luca Marini could hold this pace at the start of the race, because he said soft tyre rhythm, no problem. We saw that in qualifying when he was on the front row, but he was unsure about his pace over the longer race distance on used tyres, so we'll keep a close check on Marini. We just saw that Massimo Rivola, Aprilia Racing boss, looking super tense, super nervous. I don't know whether anybody got any sleep last night if you're involved in the factory Aprilia team, and not just because of the raucous atmosphere in downtown Termas de Rio Hondo. It's pretty tense times as they stand on the brink of history here, on board with Alex Espargaro. He's not going to be close enough to attack Jorge Martin in this crucial final sector, but at the moment he seems pretty content just to sit there on the rear tyre of the Spaniard directly ahead of him.
And they're continuing to pull away from the group behind. Pol Espargaro in third position on that last lap at 1:40.004, half a second slower than the race leader Jorge Martin. Here's Johan Zarco having a go at Quartararo. Quartararo has just passed him at the end of that last lap. Quartararo back up into 12th position, but they're already being split away from the group battling for the podium. You can see behind Pecco Bagnaia a little bit of a gap back to Bastianini, who's pulling away now from Takaki Nakagami. Crucial championship points up for grabs here for Quartararo as he looks to make his way back through the field.
Alex Rins is looking really strong, as we expected he would do, given his great record here in Argentina. He just picked up late on that last lap Luca Marini. So Rins up in the 4th place and doing a 1:39.7.
How soul-destroying must that be for Fabio Quartararo, having made all the hard work to get past Johan Zarco in the last lap. Zarco breezes past him on the back straight down towards turn 5. So Zarco back into 12th place. Quartararo looking to get it tight out of turn 5. We go now left through 6. Turn 7 will be another potential overtaking spot for Quartararo, who seems to have to brake as late as he dares to make progress in this Grand Prix. He's having a look at Zarco, but no way through. The frustration will be building for the world champion.
Just the worst possible place to be for Fabio Quartararo, mid-pack. We know, as we mentioned, the front tyre temperature, front tyre pressure, it so handicaps the Yamaha And when you haven't got the engine, you haven't got the acceleration and the top speed, it's so hard to find overtakes as well. So Fabio Quartararo will be going some here to get himself inside that top 10. We know he was pretty strong and confident in terms of his race pace in the second half on longer runs, but so much work to do. Quartararo then stuck down in 13.
This is Alex Rins then getting past Luca Marini. This was a lap and a half or so ago. Of course, no problems with that Suzuki now in terms of straight line speed. More than capable of getting up alongside the VR46 Ducati of Luca Marini. Fastest lap of the race then to Jorge Martin last time round, a 1:39.522. That's a very fast pace indeed at this early stage of the race. He's increased his lead over Aleix Espargaro to just under half a second.
Yeah, that Suzuki top speed is impressive, isn't it, so far this year? We saw it blitz past the Ducatis on the long straight in Qatar. Sector 1, there's a yellow flag gone out. Then who have we... Or have we lost anybody, or is it just a run-off?
Zarco,
yeah,
I think he's dropping down.
Gone down, yeah. So Johan Zarco on the podium for the first time in 13 Grand Prix. Last time out in Mandalika, he's down at turn 2. So Pramac hopes now resting firmly on the shoulders of Jorge Martin. What a job he's doing. We're on board here with their fellow Frenchman Fabio Quartararo. Zarco tips it in, but doesn't come out the other side, unfortunately. Disappointment then here in Argentina for Zarco, who would have had high hopes coming here. A double Moto2 winner here previously in Argentina, and on the podium back in 2018, second to Cal Crutchlow. He's down and out.
The pace is starting to pick up in that chase group now, led by Pol Espargaro. They set personal best lap time around. Pol Espargaro did a 1:39.6, a 10th quicker than Alex Rins, just behind him in 4th, but then matching the lead now. They're a 10th shy of Martin, but a 10th quicker than Aleix Espargaro, who gets a little bit wide there through turn 11. So that group behind, 1.5 seconds behind Aleix Espargaro, they're starting to close in.
Yeah, Marini was a 1:39.9 on that previous lap, so just a little bit slower than those around him. Nothing to give him too much major concern right now as Aleix Espargaro starts to get the hammer down. He's clicking into his groove now. A 1:39.437 on that last lap is the best lap of the Grand Prix so far. Valentino Rossi's 7-year-old race lap records of 1:39 flat, so we're still a little bit away from that pace as Joan Mir now finds his way through on Marini. Is this the start of the Marini plummet back through the field, which we kind of feared? He was a little bit pessimistic himself potentially about his hopes of fighting for the podium in this afternoon's Grand Prix. Nothing wrong with his soft tyre pace, but he is unfortunately going the wrong way at the moment. Mir now the latest man to pick him off.
A couple of other riders further back in this group who've got pretty good pace. Brad Binder in 8th position, he's matching the leaders for pace. He just did a 1:39.6 last time around. Pecco Bagnaia too, he's managed to claw his way up into 9th position. He's broken clear of that group led by Enea Bastianini, who are battling for 10th backwards. That group of course includes Quartararo. Both Binder and Bagnaia with good pace. They're in that group. They're just a couple of seconds shy of Pol Espargaro in 3rd position, who now has Alex Rins well and truly on his case. Pol Espargaro wide there. Rins now trying to get up the inside now as they go around turn 8. That'll put him on the outside for 9, but he's clear ahead of Pol Espargaro. Rins into 3rd. That will set danger signs off amongst the leading 2.
The problem for Alex Rins is, has Jorge Martin and Aleix Espargaro already pulled too far clear at the front of this race? Alex Rins is 2 seconds behind Aleix Espargaro now. Of course, he's got time. He can bridge that gap, but it's how much he has to work. But in particular, that soft rear tyre. Now, I was just about to say what's happened to Franco Morbidelli, because he was down in 16th place. Horrible day for Yamaha continues. Fabio Quartararo had 2 mechanicals, didn't he, pre-race in Mandalika. Dobby was ruled out with an electrical problem in those rain conditions. Dovizioso's already had to pull in and then go back out in this Grand Prix. Now Franco Morbidelli looks like he's got some kind of issue as well, which is going to rule him out prematurely in Argentina.
Yeah, Quartararo is still in 12th position. He's just done a personal best lap himself, 1:39.9, but he's stuck behind Takaki Nakagami and Enea Bastianini. So Quartararo finding the going very, very tough. If he can get to the front of that group, he might be able to get his head down and close in on that podium battle, because from Rins back to Brad Binder, they're pretty much running line astern. A couple of seconds adrift of this leading duo. Martin continues to chip away in the 1:39s. Marini now having a go on Maverick Vinales. Marini, rather than going backwards, is trying to fight his way back forwards. That's the battle for 6th position, and you can see Bagnaia and Binder closing in behind.
Yeah, top job this by Pecco Bagnaia after all the problems of the first 2 races. Now, what's going on here? Franco Morbidelli, Mike Maragall was rushing out. No, you can't. So Franco Morbidelli's Argentinian Grand Prix is over. I'm sure there's been a few family and friends over from neighbouring Brazil, where he's got some blood and heritage from, have come to watch Franco Morbidelli. It's been a disappointing day for him. I was just about to say Pecco Bagnaia, it's been a pretty good salvage job for him so far. His last lap was a 1:39.7, which was less than a tenth away from race leader Jorge Martin. So despite all his problems, 1 point from the opening 50 in 2022. He's not letting his head drop, is he, Pecco Bagnaia? He's digging deep and he's fighting for every single point out there right now as the Italian.
Luca Marini then continuing to do a very, very good job there in 6th position. This is the battle for the lead then. They're continuing to lap in the mid-139s, although Rins was a tenth faster last time around than Martin, and 2/10 quicker than Aleix Espargaro. He's 2.4 seconds off the lead is the Suzuki rider. Still 17 laps to go, a lot of racing still to go yet. So perhaps Rins at the moment just playing a bit of a patient game and chipping away at that leading group rather than taking too much out of his tyres early.
We have seen in recent history in Argentina big tyre drop-offs towards the end of the race, haven't we? Marc Marquez, I think at one point in 2015 was 4 seconds or more clear of Valentino Rossi. And of course Rossi reeled him back in, and then there was that famous collision. I'm not going to drag all that one up again about 2015, but maybe this race is not sort of all done and dusted. It's not maybe just a fight for the victory between Jorge Martin and Aleix Espargaro, as Maverick Viñales trying to find a way back through on that rapid GP22 in the hands of Luca Marini.
Bagnaia closing in as well. Bagnaia looks like he's got the pace to get past these two. If he can get through, he might be able to bring himself onto the rear of Joan Mir. Fabio Quartararo has made a little bit more progress. He's now passed Takaki Nakagami and up into 11th place. The next challenge for him is the championship leader, Enea Bastianini, who doesn't appear to have the pace at this stage to go with the guys ahead of him. We always see Bastianini come on strong towards the end of a Grand Prix. He's going to have to today. He's not able to break out of the 1:40s at the moment. He's 6.3 seconds off the lead and not closing any getting nearer to Brad Binder up ahead of him.
The Aprilia camp already looking pretty tense and tight. Likewise, Pramac Ducati, as they watch their man Danny Ramagnoli, the crew chief, the Jorge Martin. Got some bad news, fellas. There's still 16 laps of this race to go, so plenty more time to gnaw away at those fingernails. The gap between Martin and Aleix Espargaro over the line, it's just over a quarter of a second. Oh, Aleix Espargaro's gone in a little bit hot there in the first corner. First mistake we've seen all weekend really from the Aprilia man, and that's going to just cost him maybe a couple of tenths. We'll have a check on the gap between Martin and Espargaro when they click through the first sector. The gap was just over a quarter of a second. What is it now after that small mistake on the front end for Aleix Espargaro? Well, yeah, it cost him dearly. He lost 4/10 of a second running wide then in the first corner. The first mistake we've made then, it's been wheels in line all weekend for Aleix Espargaro, but he crucially loses nearly half a second with that running wide on the first corner on turn 10.
News from Simon Creft, Ryan Pitlin, a problem with the rear wheel or the rear tyre with Franco Morbidelli. They're changing the rear tyre and hoping to send him back out. Of course, with a bit of attrition in this race, he could still perhaps come through for some points later on. Here's another look at the error for Aleix Espargaro into turn 1.
I think he got in hot as well at turn 5. I think as well, just trying to maybe recover that lost time. Aleix Espargaro, he did. He made another mistake, so having been faultless and flawless all weekend so far, Aleix Espargaro, 2 mistakes in the space of 5 corners, all of a sudden has given Jorge Martin an advantage of nearly a second.
And Alex Rins is just a second behind Aleix Espargaro now. For the second consecutive lap last time around, Rins was quicker than the leading two. Frustration still for Pecco Bagnaia, who we're on board with, running in 8th position. He certainly appears to have the speed to get past Luca Marini and Maverick Viñales. I'll certainly pull away from them if he can get through. But Marini covering his line nicely into 12 and 13 as Bagnaia continues to follow the VR46 Ducati. Having to play a bit of a patient game here, Bagnaia, with Viñales leading this group, a second and a half up the road to Joan Mir. If Bagnaia can get through, you can't have the feeling he can close in on the Suzuki too. Binder just behind him as well.
That was a really costly 10th lap for Aleix Espargaro. He lost 9/10 of a second to Jorge Martin. The deficit now is over 1.1 seconds, and it's brought Alex Rins right back into contention as well for second place. You just wonder whether Aleix Espargaro, you can see how costly that lap was, either a 1:45, where Martin was a 1:39.6. Now, is that going to be crucial? Is that just going to cost Aleix Espargaro the chance to fight for this picture? Because Jorge Martin at the moment has been rock solid. He's been granite at the front. He has not buckled under any kind of pressure.
Bagnaia having another look at Luca Marini. Marini goes a little bit wide. Bagnaia able to carry a tighter line through turn 5, but still no way through for Bagnaia. He's showing on your tower on the left-hand side of the screen ahead of Marini as it now resets. Marini got back through, so maybe Bagnaia down the back straight was able to get his nose in front. He's now having another look into turn 7. Bagnaia getting a little bit impatient. We saw him with a little bit of hand gestures, a little bit of body language that I don't normally see from Bagnaia. It's important that he keeps his head cool here. Long race, still 15 laps still to go. Plenty of points still to play for Pecco if he can keep his head.
Yeah, and while this is a good rescue job for Bagnaia, what's going to sting, what will hurt him is the fact that there is a GP22 in the hands of Jorge Martin that at the moment is running away with this Argentinian Grand Prix. Although Aleix Espargaro has very quickly recovered from that pretty wretched lap 10, the previous lap when he was lost 9/10 of a second. He's recovered 4/10 already in the first 3 sectors on this current lap. In fact, Aleix Espargaro set the best lap of the Grand Prix. That's how you respond from a couple of mistakes on lap 10. On lap 11, firing the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:39.375.
Perhaps gives us an idea of the true pace of Aleix Espargaro on that Aprilia. When he needed to unleash a little bit of pace, look what he did. He pulled out a 1:39.375. As you can see, just 3/10 slower than the fastest ever race lap around this circuit. So Aleix Espargaro able to pull 4/10 back. As you can see, Martin's not exactly getting much slower, only a 10 slower than he'd been on the previous 2 laps. It's Aleix Espargaro's pace which appears to be dictating the outcome of this Grand Prix. He's closing in once again in this first sector. Martin has been able to stabilise that. It stays at 3/4 of a second, although you can see that top left corner of your screen, that updates more frequently than the 4 sector points. It's already down to around half a second.
You can see there on that graphic at the bottom of your screen, Aleix Espargaro, lap 11 compared to lap 10, he was 1.2 seconds faster. So it just shows you how much he paid for those 2 mistakes at turn 1 and turn 5 on lap 10. It just shows you how fantastically fast he was. A quick and rapid recovery from Aleix Espargaro to recover a lot of that time.
Quick check on Fabio Quartararo. He set a personal best last time around, but he's still half a second behind Enea Bastianini. Here is Quartararo. We're right on board with the reigning world champion, still in 11th place. He's got Nakagami and Oliveira behind him. What a difference 2 races makes for Miguel Oliveira, who was knocked out of the top 10 in the dying seconds of FP2, and that's really put him on the back foot for the entire weekend. Started down in 16th, and he's still only up in 13th, just ahead of Jack Miller, who's still precisely where he started.
Oliveira said he wants to avoid this season being too spiky, too inconsistent up and down. Well, that's exactly what it's going for so far, the Portuguese man. A DNF in round 1 in Qatar, a fantastic victory in the rain condition in Mandalika, and now they're way down in 13th place. This was the start of the race. It wasn't the great launch off the line from pole position for Aleix Espargaro. It was the dream start, as we've seen so often from Jorge Martin. Pol Espargaro got away really well as well. There was a bit of drama further down. It looked like Marco Bezzecchi was involved.
I think Alex Marquez as well was involved there as well.
Let's have a look at Pol Espargaro here then, starting from 4th place. He sweeps immediately right to try and get some clear track, and then a big head shake as he got on the gas away from that 4th place on the grid.
I think his eyes would have lit up there as he was going up the inside of his brother into turn 1. Of course, he thought better of that and stuck behind him. Aleix Espargaro continuing to close in once again. A 1:39.4 for him on the last lap. Another 1/4 of a second pulled back from Jorge Martin. And Martin, who'd been given a bit of breathing space with those mistakes a couple of laps ago from Aleix Espargaro, he's got the Aprilia right back on his tail again. And an update on Bagnaia, he has now passed the Guarini into 7th place.
We're at half race distance now, aren't we? There's still a long way to go. At the moment, Jorge Martin has been picture perfect. Absolutely awesome job by him to keep the hard-charging Aleix Espargaro at bay. Yesterday, though, in FP2, in that extended 1-hour session, we did feel like when you looked at the lap-by-lap analysis, the best race pace was certainly coming from the man in 2nd place, Aleix Espargaro. Now he's really starting to close in on Jorge Martin. That really difficult lap 10 he had, it didn't ruffle his feathers at all, did it? He was quickly able to regain his composure. Over the line, then the gap just over 3/10 of a second. Pol Espargaro and Joan Mir, they've just set their personal best laps of the Grand Prix so far. A 1:39.5 from the Repsol Honda man. Slightly slower was Mir with a 1:39.6 as they try and somehow keep on tabs with Alex Rins in 3rd.
Whatever happened with Bagnaia passing Luca Marini, it clearly opened the door as well for Brad Binder, another rider who often saves his best for a Sunday. Binder now up into 8th place. And as you can see at the moment, we have a 3-way tie for 2nd in the World Championship. Aleix Espargaro, as it stands, would lead it by 4. He could potentially lead it by 9 if he can somehow dislodge the number 89 Ducati up ahead of him.
Well, we said MotoGP in 2022 was going to be unpredictable. Who could have foreseen this, though, when it was lights out in Qatar about a month ago, that potentially going into round 4 in Austin, Aleix Espargaro, having taken a pole position here in Argentina, could be heading to round 4 as the MotoGP World Championship leader. You've got to go a long way back to the man that looks like he's losing that position, Enea Bastianini there in 10th place. We know how good he is, though, in terms of late race pace. He showed it so often last year on that 2-year-old Vinci Ducati. He's got Fabio Quartararo for company, but Bastianini versus Quartararo, 10th and 11th, not what we expected pre-weekend at all.
Quartararo was actually faster than the leader last time around. A 1:39.611 for him, his personal best lap of the race. He just can't do anything with that pace. He's now at the back of Enea Bastianini. They're soon going to mop up Luca Marini as well, I would suspect. Marini dropping backwards now in 9th. He's just ahead of them. You can see left-hand side of your screen. You can ride on board with Fabio Quartararo as he has a look at the inside of Enea Bastianini, but no way through at the moment. Martin's lead then is 0.4 of a second. Rins is continuing to chip away at this. Rins, for the first time in this Grand Prix for a number of laps, has got that gap to the leader under 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's 1.5 seconds adrift of Pol Espargaro. Is he just going to run out of time? Did he spend that little bit too long fighting it out with Pol Espargaro in that battle for 3rd place? Because it just looks... Oh, Pol Espargaro's gone down. I'm pretty sure that was Pol Espargaro, sector 1, turn 2. I think the Repsol Honda man has crashed out of this Grand Prix. Was it Pol Espargaro? It was. So the nightmare 2 weeks for HRC just goes on. Pol Espargaro then was in 4th place, nearly a second clear of Joan Mir. You can see how frustrated he is. That's a proper stomp, isn't it, for Pol Espargaro. We're on board with him now. He's going to flick it left into the second corner. And it just got unsettled on the front end. Pol Espargaro, nothing he can do about that. So HRC minus Marc Marquez this weekend, and now minus Pol Espargaro in this Grand Prix when he was in podium contention.
So what will that do for Joan Mir then in 4th position now? 3rd and 4th for Suzuki. Mir's got 2 seconds of empty tarmac up ahead of him to Alex Rins, and he was no faster than him on the previous lap. Although Mir has pulled clear of Maverick Vinales. So Vinales in 5th. He's got Pecco Bagnaia just behind him, 1.4 seconds behind him. Bagnaia has Brad Binder, Luca Marini, Enea Bastianini and Fabio Quartararo in pretty close company. So a close battle from 6th all the way down to 10th. But no question what the key battle is here at the moment. Pol Espargaro zeroing in on the back of Jorge Martin. The lead just over a 1/4 of a second at the moment as we now cut back to the World Championship leader, Enea Bastianini. They'll be handing that championship lead over to the Aprilia rider, Pol Espargaro, unless he can make pretty rapid progress in these closing stages.
Just can't find a way through on Marini right now, can they? Both Bastianini and Quartararo have been stuck there. You can see Bagnaia and Binder, once they were able to get through on Luca Marini, they've been able to gap him quite comfortably. But he's so hard to overtake Marini. The Ducati was such good acceleration. You've got to be pinpoint accurate with your overtakes to find a way through. And right now, Bastianini and Quartararo can see the effect that once you're through, with clear track you can get away. Marc Marquez then back at home, unfortunately, watching all the action live here. Unfortunately, his Repsol Honda teammate Pol Espargaro has just crashed out, one in a well-placed 4th spot. Will Marc Marquez be back in the saddle on that RC213V in just 5 days' time in Austin, Texas, as Bastianini then finally does work out the puzzle? Oh no, he's got way too. Well, he worked out the puzzle initially, then it all crumbled, and he was nearly going to the moon there, trying to get the power on the painted red surface. Look at that. He's just really angered himself, isn't he, now, for losing those positions. He's got to be careful here, Bastianini.
Look at the rider that's ahead of him and Oliveira, though. Marco Bezzecchi there on the 72. He's now up into 11th position. The Mooney VR46 rookie is having another outstanding outing. I was going to mention him a second ago because Jack Miller still down in 14th position. It's all going wrong for the Australian on the factory Ducati. He's still where he started in 14th. He's not able to break out of the 1-minute 40s. He's been passed by Bezzecchi and Oliveira. Disastrous afternoon so far for the Australian.
Yeah, a bit of a humbling experience this, isn't it, for Thriller Miller coming into this weekend. Pumped and so delighted. Congratulations, of course, getting engaged to his good lady Ruby, but it's not the celebrations he was wanting here in Argentina, as Jorge Martin coming under the most intense pressure still from Pol Espargaro. The gap over the line was just under 0.2 of a second. Joan Mir again finds another personal best lap, a 1:39.531. That's cut the gap to Rins down to 1.8 seconds. He's not the fastest man on the circuit, though, because that honour is Pecco Bagnaia, who did a 1:39.451. Now, is there life in the battle for 5th place for Bagnaia? He's 1.4 seconds back of Vinales.
On board then with Pol Espargaro. He has to try and plot away now past the Ducati of Jorge Martin. He's followed him for long enough now to know where that Ducati is stronger. There's one obvious place where that Ducati is stronger, and that's between turns 4 and 5. But Jorge Martin, should I say, doing a pretty good job, not making any mistakes, just keeping that lead at around a 1/4 of a second as Pol Espargaro watches on. I'm sure he will certainly have a keen interest in this battle for the lead. He will have he will have lived every lap of this Grand Prix career with himself and Aleix Espargaro as a brilliant watch on. Romano Albiciano, arms crossed, seeing if his man on his 200th Grand Prix start can find a way past Jorge Martin. So far, no sign of any mistakes for Jorge Martin. I think if Aleix Espargaro felt he had the pace to go past and get away, he would have made a move by now. Can he find a tactical way to get past the number 89?
It's all kind of unravelled for Pol Espargaro, hasn't it, after a positive start. Podium in the first round in Qatar, just 4 points in the last 2 races since then, and an early bath today for the younger of the Espargaro brothers. The eldest Espargaro brother still doing a fantastic job here to back up a historic pole position for Aprilia here in Argentina yesterday with an historic first win in MotoGP. There's nothing to split them in terms of tyre choice. Now it's all about who's going to be able to manage it for these key 8 laps or so. Alex Rins, now that gap's come down to 1.5 seconds, and we're in the territory of this race now where the Suzukis will come on strong. Famous, of course, that GSX-RR for nursing its tyres in demanding conditions. Now then, Aleix Espargaro has got a little bit of corner speed here, a big head shake there from Jorge Martin as well as they came out of turn 4, and that's all Aleix Espargaro needed. It was the combination of Aleix Espargaro's corner speed. Oh, no, he can't. Straight away then, Aleix Espargaro got through momentarily on Jorge Martin. The first time Martin surrendered a lead in this Grand Prix, but it was a very short-lived experience. Aleix Espargaro in hot at turn 5, back in second.
So tantalising for Aleix Espargaro. He's been trying for 199 Grand Prix to win in the Premier class in MotoGP, and he's trying to achieve it on the 200th occasion. Of course, all this does is bring Alex Rins back into contention. Rins has been chipping away at that gap to the front 2, taking a 10.2 per lap, but he looked as if he was going to run out of time to close on the leading 2. If they start battling amongst themselves, Rins might not be out of contention yet. He's 1.3 seconds behind Aleix Espargaro. He started the lap 1.8 seconds off the lead. That's already been cut by 3/10.
It's impressive pace at this time of the race as well from Joan Mir, a 1:39.4, when these tyres now are starting to get really well worn. Martin then, he's led pretty much for the whole of this Grand Prix, as we said, as we're on board there with Fabio Quartararo on the left-hand side of your picture. He's finally got through on Luca Marini. It's been a good effort, hard work. He's having to work really hard for this 9th place, isn't he? The reigning world champion, and perhaps now with a bit of clear air ahead of him, he can just cool down that front tyre a little bit. But at the moment, up into 8th place, Fabio Quartararo, and that's probably all she wrote. I don't think he's going to reel in anybody else because he's 2.5 seconds behind Binder in 7th.
So on to the back straight once again then. Aleix Espargaro not quite as close as he was a lap ago. Of course, he kind of got the move done a lap ago. He was firmly alongside, not the inside of Jorge Martin. He just left his braking a little bit too late. Martin already going to the middle of the track, looking to try and fend off any potential attack from Aleix Espargaro into turn 5. Espargaro stays in 2nd place. Rins then 1.3 seconds now behind Aleix Espargaro. That's more a case of Aleix getting closer to Martin and pulling away from Rins. Rins is still 1.5 seconds adrift of the leader, Martin.
Yeah, Martin was probably a little bit smoother on the throttle coming through turn 4 on this lap, just to make sure that he didn't get the big speed wobble, the big head shake as he came out onto the back straight, which allowed Aleix Espargaro to briefly fire that Aprilia up the inside into turn 5. As we said, though, he got in hot and ran wide. This has been the story of this Argentinian Grand Prix right from the get-go, really. Jorge Martin versus Aleix Espargaro. They know each other exceptionally well. They're both based, of course, in Andorra. Who's going to be going home in about a week's time with a race-winning prize from Argentina? Now then, there's no way through. Martin hugging that inside line here through turn 13 and turn 14. He probably knows that the Aprilia perhaps turns better in this final sector, so going pretty defensive there, as you would. So then, what have we got? 6 laps to go here. P1 for Jorge Martin. The gap to Aleix Espargaro just over a 10th.
And Rins not making the progress he needs to with just 6 laps to go. I think Rins is going to run out of time. He's still continuing to lap ever so slightly faster than this leading duo, but it's not enough for him. Further back, Quartararo, as you can see, left-hand side of the screen, still holds 8th place. Marco Bezzecchi is now into the top 10. He's past Takaki Nakagami, and he'll soon be giving his teammate a headache. Luca Marini, the 2 PR46 Ducatis will soon be battling over P9, but this is the battle we're all wanting to see. Can Aleix Espargaro finally find a way through?
He's trying to pick up some slipstream whenever it has an Aprilia out-dragged the Ducati down a long start finish straight. Here we go though, Aleix Espargaro, can he hold it this time? Yeah, he's in hot again. That's the 2nd time then into turn 5. He did it on lap 18 and got in too hot. This time around it's lap 20, a couple of laps later, and it's the exact same carbon copy move.
and Martin that'll be music to Martin's ears, as he knows that if he breaks as late as he knows he can, it doesn't appear as if Aleix Espargaro can break late enough to get up the inside of him and still hold the corner. Here's another look at it. Second time we've seen this from Aleix Espargaro. Again, he kind of got the move done as they hit the brakes, but he just brakes a little bit too late, and you can see him fighting desperately to get the thing stopped. Moves wide, and he's now given Jorge Martin 0.4 of a second of breathing space. And again, I say it again, this will just give Alex Rins a little bit more encouragement to try and close in on this leading two.
Yeah, just got to box clever here, hasn't he, Aleix Espargaro? He's done so much of the hard work just to get Aprilia into this position over the last 6 seasons or so. He's shed blood, sweat and tears for moments like this. Do not throw it away when such a golden opportunity arises for your first MotoGP win. Jorge Martin it is, with 5 laps to go, that leads the way. Aleix Espargaro briefly let it turn 5 on lap 18. He briefly let it turn 5 on lap 20. When will the crucial move come? Will it ever come, as Jorge Martin again runs super tight defensive line through turn 2?
Marco Bezzecchi has now passed Luca Marini in the battle of the teammates for 9th position. What an incredible performance. The rookie is having 9th position. He's just behind the world champion Fabio Quartararo. On board then with Aleix Espargaro with 5 to go. Is this now the moment?
You can see Martin struggling for stability and rear grip, and again here comes Aleix Espargaro. Now he's just trying to do the block pass, isn't he, here? The block pass on the inside. Now then, he's got it done this time around. He tried on lap 18, not a successful mission. He tried on lap 20, didn't work. Lap 21 though, he has finally got into the front. Romano Albiciano, he's enjoying it. I'm sure he's super nervous down that Aprilia garage. Now then, can Aleix Espargaro make the key break here?
Already putting some bike lanes between himself and Jorge Martin. You kind of got the feeling with Martin, if he was going to be able to get back past that Aprilia, he had to do it immediately. And already you can see the gap has opened up as they'll come through the 3rd sector point as they come out of turn 9 here and flick it round turn 10 through the sector point. Already, look at that, 0.3 of a second to the advantage for Aleix Espargaro. Aleix can now get into his rhythm, and Martin will now already be starting to think, I might be under pressure soon from the Suzuki behind me. Can Martin somehow regroup in the latter stages of this race? Aleix Espargaro, though, for the first time since he sat on the grid, has clear tarmac ahead of him.
You can see Jorge Martin's problems. He's not able to get the power down through turn number 4, or turn 3 and 4, and that's losing him drive down that back straight, and that's allowing Aleix Espargaro to get close. So then, for the first time in this race, Jorge Martin drops into the 140s. It's a 140.1 as he's just running out of rear tyre at the most crucial moment that he needs it the most. Here comes Alex Rins. He's still not giving up hopes of maybe getting a 2nd place, if not even better. Fair play to Jorge Martin, though. He's really digging deep here to keep the pressure on Aleix Espargaro. Now then, this has been the better drive from the Aprilia over the last few laps. Look at that, you can see clearly there. Through 3 and 4, the Aprilia has just got that better drive grip, and that better grip with a bit of lean angle through those fast corners.
Jorge Martin needs these points. It's still very early in the season, but Martin, of course, has no points from the first 2 Grand Prix. I'm sure he's a racer. He wants the 25, he wants the victory, but I think with the potential for 20 to get his season up and running, will Jorge Martin think 2nd is more than good enough? The gap back to Alex Rins, as you can see, for the first time is under a 2nd now. Don't rule out Alex Rins just yet with 4 laps to go. He's less than a 2nd behind Jorge Martin, but that's how the championship looks as it stands. Aleix Espargaro would take an 8-point lead to Texas.
These guys are really grappling for grip here. You could see smoke pouring off the rear tyres of Aleix Espargaro and Jorge Martin through that fast turn number 6. And this will be maybe bringing Alex Rins back into contention. What a brilliant podium this will be for Rins, his first of the season. And we're on course, of course. We had 6 different riders on the podium in the first 2 races. It could be 9 different riders on the podium in the first 3 Grand Prix. Surely that has never happened before in Grand Prix history. If it has, it's a very rare occurrence. Aleix Espargaro then, 3 laps to go, 3 laps away from history, 3 laps away from the biggest moment of his Grand Prix career. He's gone in hot though into turn number 1. He will bring it back for a very late apex. Jorge Martin though still hanging in there in 2nd. What's the gap between Martin and Rins? Just over 1.1 seconds when they came over the line to start this lap 23.
But Aleix Espargaro is starting to close in on the 140s. A 139.9 for him last time round. Safe for the lap where he made those 2 mistakes. He's pretty much been in the 139s throughout this Grand Prix, and Martin's able to close back in on him. The Suzuki's continue to lap in the 139.6 range, so if they can keep that up and there is a drop further ahead of them, then don't rule them out just yet. Aleix Espargaro then leads us through turn 5. I have to say, when he made the move on Jorge Martin, I thought that would be all she wrote, but Martin's sticking in there.
Alex Rins is superb in the first sector. He's got so much corner speed and edge grip still on that Suzuki. He found 3/10 on Jorge Martin in that first split. Martin has held station, I guess, using that Ducati power down the back straight, but Alex Rins has been absolutely stunning in that first sector. This is a replay then of our two top men in this race. It's Pol Espargaro with an advantage of now, well, 3/10 of a second. They've just clicked through the third sector, and that's the biggest lead that Pol Espargaro has been able to build up for some time here. But Martino still fighting hard. The Terminator, the Martinator, really going for it, isn't he?
How are the nerves at Aprilia at this stage in the Grand Prix? Just 2 laps to go as they come left now onto the main straight. Lap 24 of 25 begins now. Pol Espargaro's lead, well, you can see it. It's next to nothing, just 2/10 of a second. They're lapping, continuing in the high 39s. Pretty much nothing to choose between the leading group on lap times. Brad Binder in 7th place, just behind Pecco Bagnaia and ahead of Fabio Quartararo. Marco Bezzecchi holds 9th, and Enea Bastianini, the championship leader at the start of the race. It looks like he's going to lose that championship lead because he can't move forward from 10th.
Oh, was that Martin just in a little bit wider to turn 2? Amazing pace from the top 6 men. They all did 1:39.8. Brad Binder, the fastest man on track, at 1:39.7. Anxious faces down there. This will mask some of the disappointment for Pol Espargaro if his brother Pol Espargaro can take a first MotoGP win. There's a late tumble here for Gresini Ducati rider Fabio Di Gianantonio. He was struggling outside the points anyway. Turn 11 has caught out the Italian rookie.
Yep, sector 3 yellow flags. That's for the young rookie, the Gresini Ducati, out of the Grand Prix.
That's
Rins
fast
challenge. It is a fast crash there through turn 11. We've seen a number of loose moments there earlier on in the weekend. I think it's too much now for Alex Rins. He's dropped back a little bit now. In fact, he's now starting to fall back towards his teammate Joan Mir, who's starting to show some good late race pace. But a crucial break now made on this penultimate lap by Pol Espargaro. You can visibly see the bike length between himself and Jorge Martin. Is this the moment where Martin's challenge finally gets snuffed out?
It's too much for Romano Albertiano to watch. You can barely look at the screens and the monitors down in the factory Aprilia garage. Of course, he himself has worked so hard behind the scenes, the technical guru behind this RSGP machine, with his band of engineers in that small camp in Novale in Italy. Are they now on course for history? They are 4.8 kilometres away from a breakthrough maiden win in MotoGP. Pol Espargaro starts the biggest last lap of his life, the most important lap of his life, and his 200th Grand Prix start in MotoGP. He's 6/10 clear of Jorge Martin, with history beckoning.
Bagnaia is now up to 5th position. He's got past Maverick Vinales, so a bit of mixed fortunes for the Aprilias in the latter stage of the race. Something happened between the two of them because they were both down in the 1:40s. They've also got Brad Binder right behind them, so there could be some changes yet in the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. But Pol Espargaro, if he keeps it wheel perfect on this last lap, he has 6/10 of a second in his pocket at the start of the lap. 1/10 of that has gone the way of Jorge Martin, but as long as he doesn't make a mistake at this stage, Pol Espargaro should have this all under control. Turn 5 out of the way. That's one of the places where Martin could have attacked if he was close enough, but no way through. Turn 7 would be one of the few places now that Martin could make a move, but he's still 6/10 to drift. And then if Pol Espargaro can keep Martin at bay going into turns 13 and 14, he should have a first MotoGP victory waiting around that final left-hander.
He's through turn 7 and 8 with no problem. Pol Espargaro then comes into the final couple of sectors. The Aprilia garage, they can barely watch. Head in hands, there's going to be tears flowing. It will be do cry for me, Argentina, won't it, for Pol Espargaro now. Turn 11, 3 corners left for Pol Espargaro. History beckons here for him and the factory Aprilia team. It's been the longest wait in Grand Prix history since your debut for your first victory. But here he comes then, 2 corners remaining. Pol Espargaro and Aprilia celebrate their first ever win in MotoGP. It's pure delirium for Aprilia and Pol Espargaro on his 200th MotoGP start. Aprilia and Pol Espargaro finally are MotoGP winners. Jorge Martin takes 2nd, Alex Rins a brilliant 3rd, Mir, Bagnaia and Brad Binder in the top 6, Vinales 7th, Quartararo, Bezzecchi and Bastianini the top 10. And of course, another big moment for this man, Pol Espargaro. Not only has he finally broken that World Championship winning Dirk, he's our new MotoGP World Championship leader.
He's always a rider who wears his heart on his sleeve, Pol Espargaro, and you can see the emotion already pouring out of him. He has put so much into that Aprilia project. Even his brother Pol looks like he's in tears in the Repsol Honda box. Aleix Espargaro has done it. He is a MotoGP winner. Aprilia are MotoGP winners for the first time in the MotoGP era. Confirmation, Aleix Espargaro has a 7-point lead over Brad Binder, and Aprilia leads a KTM in the MotoGP World Championship. Did you ever think you would be saying that? But congratulations to Aprilia. They have finally done it. Their first MotoGP era victory and their 250th victory in their entire Grand Prix career in all classes.
Coming into this Termas de Rio Hondo battle, Aprilia in MotoGP had only ever had 10 top 6 finishes, yet here they are for the very first time. Pandemonium down in the Aprilia garage. Let's quickly pop down to Simon Crafar in pit lane with Aprilia's Paolo Buneo. Simon, I'm sure emotional scenes.
Yes, Paolo, how does it feel to be the engineer behind your machine that won today?
No words, no words. It's an unbelievable moment, a wonderful moment. Since many years we wait for this, and we did it. We are so happy about this. Thanks so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Such huge emotion, such huge relief. The full range of emotion, I'm sure, being experienced by everybody connected to the factory Aprilia team. A great job as well by Maverick Vinales. He was inside that top 5 until very late on. He takes a 7th place, only 6.5 seconds away from the race win, but quite rightly, all the attention, all the focus will be on one man, the 32-year-old Spaniard, born and bred just a stone's throw away from the circuit, the Barcelona Catalunya in Granollers. He used to say when he was a schoolboy he could hear the engines of the bikes roaring around the famous Catalunya circuit. He started his passion, it's there where he wanted to be a Grand Prix racer, and here we are all those years later. The boyhood dream finally comes true for Aleix Espargaro. Congratulations to him and his family. I'm sure Laura and Max and Mia back in Andorra, they're in floods of tears. Quite rightly so, because their daddy produced a truly brilliant performance, not just in the Grand Prix. Let's not forget, he was superb in FP2, he was quickest in Q2, he topped the warm-up, but when it really mattered, when the pressure was on, Aleix Espargaro stood up to the test, and he is a MotoGP winner. Aprilia are MotoGP winners. Congratulations to both. What a memorable 2022 Grand Prix of Argentina here at the Termas de Rio Hondo circuit.
In the end, he just had a little bit too much, didn't he, for Jorge Martin, who started from the front row of the grid and led for so long. A valiant effort to try and hold off the Aprilia package with Aleix Espargaro on board, which was clearly faster in race trim, but Martin held on until the closing laps of the race. We saw Aleix Espargaro on a couple of occasions trying to get the move done into turn 5, and Martin was able to hold him off, but Aleix Espargaro finally able to get the move done. Into the waiting arms he goes of his Aprilia crew. They have poured so much into this to try and get to the very bottom of MotoGP, all the way to the top, and Aleix Espargaro, at the 200th time of asking in MotoGP, has reached the summit.
No rider in history has had to wait as long as Aleix Espargaro has for a first Grand Prix victory. 284th Grand Prix start, and it's for special moments like this. Aprilia have had their critics when they came back in 2015 with an uncompetitive RSGP. Aleix Espargaro has had his fierce critics. He's been around for too long with top rides. Not good enough. Well, he's banished all of those critics, hasn't he? Great job, great respect, great sportsmanship between our top 3 men down in Parc Ferme. All 3 of them, of course, Andorra-based. And amazingly, we've had 9 different riders on the first 3 podiums to kick off 2022. A stunning ride by Jorge Martin, his first points of the season. Let's hear from Pramac Ducati's Fonzie Nieto with Simon.
Fonzie, please tell us what you think of Jorge's beautiful ride today.
Yeah, amazing race. We know Alex have a little bit more all the weekend, and for that we don't fight with him. For us, after 2-0 finish is very important, I tell you before the race. And amazing, 20 points for him is amazing, and with power for Austin. Last year he made an amazing race. For that we are very consistent for this.
Fonzie, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a fantastic job by Jorge Martin. When you think that he's been under the pump, pressure was on him as well, wasn't it? Having had 2 DNFs to kick off the season, you can't keep a good man down for too long. And credit to Alex Rins as well. He did a fantastic job Absolutely superb. A good day all round for Team Suzuki X-Star. Third for this man, Alex Rins. Fourth for Juan Mir. Livio Supo's hopes of a podium, well, they came to fruition. He's with Simon in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, Livio, there was some blue on the podium, but not just that, third and fourth. How do you feel about it?
I'm very happy because both had a great pace, as we said. Of course, congratulations to Alex. He did an unbelievable job, and also Jorge. But, you know, we were very close till the end. So I'm really proud. We are leading the team championship. It's the first championship we lead, and now we will fight for the next ones.
Big congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, it got a bit close at times, didn't it, between Maverick Vinales and Pecco Bagnaia at some point in that race. They finished 5th and 7th, respectively. A poor weekend and a bad day at the office for this man, Enea Bastianini, sort of tamely surrendering the World Championship lead. He'll be back to fight another day in Austin in 5 days' time, but a 10th place for the Gresini Racing rider, and he slips down to 3rd in the championship standings. Early days, though, of course, only 9 points adrift of Aleix Espargaro. We saw there on the screens 9 different riders on the first 3 podiums of the season, and none will be more celebrated than this one. Aleix Espargaro, most of the paddock are flying back to Buenos Aires tonight to catch flights, the long flights over to America tomorrow. I think it's fair to say that there's going to be quite a few sore heads in the Aleix Espargaro and Aprilia camp. They won't care one bit, though, because they've had some difficult moments, some tough moments. As we said pre-race, this man, he almost threw the towel in a couple of years ago when Aprilia wasn't competitive, it was unreliable. He thought, I'm not enjoying this anymore. Is it worth all the sacrifices? He contemplated, he flirted with retirement. Yet here he is at the start of 2022 as a MotoGP winner from pole position. What a memorable, historic weekend all round for the factory Aprilia team. A great job by this man as well, his first podium of the season. 3rd place to Suzuki rider Alex Rins with Simon.
Alex, you showed pace all weekend. A lot of people believed you could get the Suzuki on the podium, and you did. How hard was it, and how happy are you?
I'm happy, not 100%, you know. We had the pace. The problem was the starting on P7. I found some riders in the front a little bit slow. But anyway, back to the podium, it's always nice. I want to say thanks to all my family, to Handry, to Lucas, to my baby. This podium is for them, for all the people that is supporting me, and for all the Argentinian guys that come here to support. I'm so happy. Viva Argentina!
Great job, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, top job, great job then by Alex Rins, the 26-year-old Spaniard. He's had to wait a long time for that podium. His first since the British Grand Prix at Silverstone last August. It's his 14th career podium in the MotoGP World Championship, and a great job by Suzuki all round. Perhaps, yeah, if they'd have qualified a little bit higher than that 3rd row, they might have been right in the mix for the race win with Aleix Espargaro, who, talking now back at home to his wife Laura, these are such special scenes. Is he going to be able to compose himself? Grazie mille, thank you very much. I'm sure back at home in Europe, his wife Laura and Max and Mia, his twin children, were just glued to the TV screens. Maybe they were watching it through their fingers over the last couple of laps, but they know all the hard work and sacrifice that Aleix Espargaro has put in. 2nd place, a half-foot second for Jorge Martinez with Simon in Parc Ferme.
Jorge, you should be proud. You're a machine. Tell us how you did that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've struggled a bit, but during the race I was super constant. At least the start was good. Finally, we worked a lot on that, and yeah, super happy also for Aleix because his first victory. I tried my best. I tried to keep him for the end because last sector I was a bit better, but you know, I was a bit on the limit of the race. But yeah, super happy to finish. We start building from this moment. Good qualifying, good race. Now we need to keep pushing, and Austin waits for us, and it's a good track for me. So full gas.
Awesome job, congratulations.
Yeah, that was a great ride by Jorge Martin. It was important for him to see the checkered flag after bad luck had knocked at his door a couple of times already so far this year. And it was not an easy task, was it, to keep Aleix Espargaro at bay for as long as what he did. He resisted until, what, lap 21 of 25, and it was a great job. A first and a richly deserved first podium of the season for Jorge Martin. Here he is, though, the man of the moment. This is now his wife, Laura, on the phone to Aleix Espargaro. You can understand why he's breaking down in emotion. His family know all the hard work, all the time, the effort, the sacrifice that he's put in for this very, very moment. Super special scenes, emotional scenes for Aleix Espargaro, his family, and for Aprilia. he's going to be struggling to keep himself composed here. As a huge congratulations, though. Here he is for the first time in the MotoGP World Championship. It's our, oh no, he's going to have another try. Have we got any reception? Have we got any signal between Argentina and Andorra? You can excuse him.
Yeah, I'm sure Simon will let him wait.
He's absolutely in floods of tears. He's broken down here. As we mentioned, we don't understand, we don't see the sacrifices behind the scenes that these guys make. It's just unbelievable. Pol Espargaro, his brother, he's lost it. He's broke down in tears as well. I mean, we can't underestimate just how hard it has been, the journey for Aleix Espargaro to get this moment. You can understand why he's struggling to contain his emotions. He's on the phone back home in Andorra to his wife Laura and to his twins Max and Mia. And finally, having regained his composure, we can talk to Aprilia's history-making first ever MotoGP winner. Congratulations to Aleix Espargaro.
Aleix, all weekend the Aprilia has looked awesome, but so have you. What does it feel like to be a MotoGP winner?
I'm very happy, you know, it's been a long time to arrive here. Actually, it was a special race because it was my 200th GP in the Premier class. Everything was set and ready. I mean, I was strong at the pace, but the pressure was double, you know, because everybody was saying to me it's gonna be easy and wasn't. So I'm very happy. So the pressure was even double, you know, because everybody analyzing the pace say, you will win easy, you will win easy. I said, I can't win easy, I never managed this, it's everything new for me. So it wasn't an easy race, I had no grip at all race. I don't know if due to the temperature of the track or whatever, but I couldn't do my pace. I couldn't ride as I wanted. I play a lot with the buttons, trying to find a good configuration. And finally, the last 4 laps, I was the strongest one. So I'm very happy, and I would like to say thanks to everybody in Aprilia, Noale, all the Aprilia family, because I think we deserve it. We truly deserve it, and the most also special thing is that we're leading the championship, so this is just a dream.
Clearly you deserve it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
A dream which Aleix Espargaro won't want to wake up from, will he, for the next few days? What a truly amazing performance. Is somebody chopping onions in the commentary box here? I feel like I'm getting a bit choked up myself. It's been a pleasure to see Aleix Espargaro throughout his Grand Prix career work so hard, work so tirelessly, particularly with Aprilia, to get to this level. And you can understand why there's so much emotion around. It was a tough race, as he said, Lewis, a good point. Everybody coming to the circuit this morning was like, well, it's Aleix Espargaro's to win. That does ramp up the pressure.
Certainly does, and it seemed as if that pressure was telling at 1 or 2 stages of the race when he was trying to fight his way past Jorge Martin, although Aleix Espargaro was shedding a little bit more light on that, saying that he had very little grip during the course of that race. He referenced the temperatures. The temperatures did really pick up over the course of this Sunday afternoon, the hottest day of the weekend here in Argentina. But Aleix Espargaro had too much in the end for the valiant effort of Jorge Martin, and MotoGP is in such rude health at the moment. We have Suzuki leading the Teams Championship, Ducati lead the Constructors Championship, and Aprilia lead the Riders Championship. 10 points covers the top 5 riders in the MotoGP World Championship at the moment, and they're from 5 different factories.
Yes, and throw into the mix 9 different riders on the first 3 podiums of the season, and that's now a 5th consecutive victory for a European manufacturer in the MotoGP World Championship, split, of course, between Ducati, KTM and Aprilia. Excellent ride as well by Maverick Vinales, who's come down to join the Parc Ferme celebration. So many positives for him to take from this excellent weekend, this dream weekend, this historic weekend for Aprilia. He started 5th, he finished the race in 7th place, and there was some pretty close moments with Ducati star Pecco Bagnaia as well, this being one of them. Maverick quite literally getting his wings clipped there, wasn't he?
That was with 2 laps to go, and then on the final lap, Brad Binder joined in the fun. Maverick Vinales just managing to hold off in the end. In fact, he lost out just on the final lap. Brad Binder coming through to 6th position. Brad Binder is 7 points off the World Championship lead in 2nd place. KTM unable to quite build on the impressive start in the first 2 Grand Prix of the season, although with such a competitive MotoGP nowadays, a top 6 finish in any conditions on any day has to be seen as a good result, especially where Brad Binder qualified yesterday.
So an emotional podium about to get underway here in Termas de Rio Hondo. We had to wait 3 years for our first taste of MotoGP in South America. And we weren't disappointed, were we? What an incredible weekend for Pol Espargaro, for the factory Aprilia team. All those fans that have made the long journey here to northern Argentina, they've certainly got their money's worth. An all-Spanish podium. Great scenes then for Pol Espargaro, for Jorge Martin and for Alex Rins. The top three men here in Argentina. Maybe he'll give himself a day off the push bike now tomorrow. Pol Espargaro is such a fanatic, isn't he? Training hard. He could probably be a Tour de France rider. Here are the podium celebrations underway in Argentina.
Alex Rins then. Of course, this was the circuit where he claimed his first ever MotoGP podium. He's back up there this afternoon. Jorge Martin in second place. But a special, special moment. A moment that Pol Espargaro will certainly remember for the rest of his life as his teammate watches on down in pit lane. Pol Espargaro preparing to take his first winner's trophy of his Grand Prix career. Aprilia too, their first winner's trophy, of course, in the MotoGP era. This one's for you guys who've worked so hard over so many years since Aprilia returned to the MotoGP class in 2015. They have finally climbed to the top of the mountain as MotoGP race winners. So Alex Rins then, third place for him. Who knows how far he could have gone had he started perhaps slightly further forward. He receives the trophy for third place. Jorge Martin, of course, in second. Led for so long in that Grand Prix as the chief of the Cabinet of Ministers of Argentina, Juan Luis Manzor, hands over the trophy for Martin. He opens his account for the 2022 season, his first points of the season and his first podium, of course, of 2022. But Pol Espargaro, he's the man of the moment. The governor of the Santiago del Estero province, Gerardo Zamora, hands over a trophy that will certainly take pride of place in the Espargaro household, as Pol Espargaro, the 284th time of asking in his career and the 200th in MotoGP. Aleix and Aprilia are MotoGP winners.
From underdogs to top dogs and to the top step of the podium then for Aleix Espargaro. Special, special moments in his Grand Prix career as he celebrates a momentous weekend here in Argentina. There is Aprilia CEO Massimo Rivola. There's going to be one heck of a party somewhere on planet Earth in between Argentina and Texas next weekend. Yes, guys, enjoy soaking up that Prosecco. That will taste so, so sweet as Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro for the very first time are MotoGP winners. Oh, the good news is we get to do this all over again in just 5 days' time as the paddock makes the trip up to the COTA, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Those fans, what a great day's racing action they had. It was well worth the wait after the break here since 2019. There is Massimo Rivola. He'll be absolutely delighted, won't he? He's done so much to put Aprilia back into this winning position himself, using his Formula One experience, and he has helped transform Aprilia into a serious force.
Termas de Rio Hondo. Gracias MotoGP por semejante espectáculo.